After spending the past 2 months using the iPhone 12 Pro Max, this is my full long-term review for it. Is it worth your hard-earned cash? Is it just a small niche upgrade for certain people? All these questions will be answered thanks to my wallet. May she rest in peace, and may she be ready for a year full of even more videos of even higher quality. Let's do this. I'll just say it, iPhone 12 Pro Max is the best iPhone you can get, and it's everything you could have ever hoped for, unless you were hoping for a high refresh rate display, a USB-C, the return of Touch ID to complement Face ID, a redesigned notch in front of the phone, and a charging brick in the box. But if you forget all that, there's still a lot of things to like here. Now, jokes aside, most of these omissions are clear indication of Apple's priorities, and even if they can feel a little like backhanded slaps in the face of consumers, they are at least very, very Apple. Take the charging situation, for example. I truly believe that the lack of a charging brick is the beginning of the portless iPhone vision, and the introduction of Magsafe is proof that as soon as next year's iPhone, you can expect that the port will be gone. They couldn't really do it the same way they did with the AirPods and just take the port out and sell you an alternative, given how integral charging is to every user, but slowly, they will take the port out, and Samsung will mock them and 6 months later release a phone without a port as well. But all these omissions aside, how is it to use this beautiful behemoth of a phone daily? It's actually pretty great. The design changes are a big win in my book, and even if I would have preferred a more matte finish to the side rails, I can't deny how premium this phone feels. It's built like a tank, and in the phone world, it weighs almost as much as one. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but this might be too big and too heavy for me, particularly since I've been going back and forth between the 12 Pro Max and the 12 Mini, and the difference could not be more massive. The perfect design to me would be the side rails of the Mini with the back glass of the Pro Max, all that in this cool new blue color. Also, if you're looking for a long-term review of this little guy, just stick around on the channel. Mine will be coming out very, very soon. Screen-wise, it's extremely similar to last year's Pro Max, apart from the completely flat display and slightly increased size. They started using a new ceramic-infused glass material to improve durability, but when it comes to scratch resistance, it's pretty much unchanged. It's a great screen, and even if I would have preferred high refresh rate for this price, I can't even be mad because now we have 5G. At least I thought we were gonna have 5G. Turns out they couldn't really do 5G and a high refresh rate display in the same phone because of battery concerns. But then 5G was US only, so no cutout on the side for Europe and no 5G millimeter wave for Europe in general. It's not like 5G will get mainstream in the next couple of years, but given the emphasis they gave to it in the keynote, I was just left disappointed.
Today, we're bringing 5G. 5G, 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 5G is the 5G.
So without 5G, without high refresh rate, but with a slightly bigger, slightly brighter display, with improved efficiency from the A14 chip and 282 mAh of battery less, how is the battery? It's worse. It's worse than before. It still comfortably lasts me for 2 days, in most days, without any trouble. I just don't chuckle when I see how much battery I have left when I go to bed, like I did throughout last year. In heavier days, I can easily stretch this battery to 7 to 8 hours of screen on time, which is more than enough for me. iOS is still iOS, so if you didn't like it in the last few years, nothing really massive has changed, and after using an iPad last year, I started to really appreciate how Apple and app developers tailor apps for the large display. It's a shame most of these ideas don't come to larger iPhones, and you're just left with the feeling that you're seeing pretty much the same, just bigger. Slightly bigger. Before I focus on the main attraction for this phone, no pun intended, I want to just briefly address the entire Magsafe accessories and charging situation. For charging, it just looks like a good idea. An easy to position wireless charging pad that you can charge and use your phone at the same time, and it's very easy to line up because of the magnets. Cool, but coming in at 45 euros for this charging puck, it definitely sounds very expensive, and that also doesn't come with a charging brick. so you have to pay an extra 25 euros to Apple to then be Magsafe charging for around 70 bucks. That's very expensive to charge your phone. For that amount of money, you can go on Amazon and buy 2 or 3 wireless charging pads, spread them around the house, use whatever cable you want with those, and plug it in with whatever charging brick you have lying around the house and charge at 5 watts or even 10 watts. It's good enough for wireless charging, and you will save a lot of money and add a lot of convenience when compared to Magsafe. If the Magsafe cable was included in the box, maybe my feeling for this entire thing will be slightly different, but it's not, and so this just feels like the beginning of Magsafe for the iPhone. The accessories, on the other hand, are a little more unique, and I can definitely see why some people would want their wallet in the back of their phone. And the car mounts are the cleanest I've ever seen, because you basically need a wireless charging pad with a strong enough magnet, and you can just stick your phone there with no cables and just move on with your life. Now the big boy, the main reason you clicked on this video, and probably the main reason you're considering purchasing this phone: the camera. Now, in the past, we've seen a big trend with manufacturers making bigger and bigger sensors and putting them in the back of phones with more and more camera lenses. And even if the lens count hasn't changed, the main sensor is much bigger than last year's. The lens also is brighter at f1.6, and the A14 is better at all computational photography tasks, so the result is just great. In all light scenarios, this is probably the easiest point, shoot, and get a great result phone that I've ever used. The bigger sensor is also great at giving you more of that natural autofocus area, and when you kick it into portrait mode, thanks to the LiDAR sensor on the back, this gives you the best cutout I've ever seen of any phone to date. You can also now use night mode on all the lenses, so no more terrible ultra-wide photos in dim light, even if the sensor is the exact same tiny one that I criticized last year. The telephoto sensor didn't change as well, but it got a slightly increase in zoom from 52 to 65mm and slightly worse aperture from f2.0 to f2.2. Reviewing the phone this late gave me time to play around with ProRes RAW, Apple's fancy RAW format that you can toggle on in the camera app. It takes your pictures to the next level if you know how to process them, but to be honest, if I want to maximize my color accuracy, my detail, and my dynamic range in a picture, I'll just go and get my big camera and take a picture with that instead. Now, don't get me wrong, it's great that a feature like this is available in a phone, and maybe it will be a great spark for some people into the world of photography, but I bet most people that know what to do with ProRes RAW already own a big camera and use their phone for more casual shots. I might be completely wrong with this idea, and if I am, please tell me, but I only used the feature for a couple of shots and everything else was taken with that feature off. Video is still king on the iPhone, and this year it's no exception. It's even better than last year because of the A14 and the LiDAR sensor. Alright, let's talk about the LiDAR sensor for a second. Autofocus in not so great light is the best use for this sensor currently. All the AR demos and the Measure app are more niche situations these days, and like I always say, never buy a piece of tech in the promise that you're gonna get a software update that's gonna make it better or it's gonna make it more useful. Buy it for what it is today. And today, it's mostly useless unless for low light autofocus in video and in photos, but mostly video. So to wrap it all up, yes, this is the best iPhone you can get in 2021. Is it actually worth $1279 when you can buy the 12 mini for $829 or the 12 normal for $929? To me, I'd say it isn't, and the difference isn't really there. But if you're looking for the best of the best, this is it. But you're here, but it's nothing about iPhones or Apple in general. I'm just here for some Feline Action, the first Feline Action of 2021. I'll see what he's up to. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and bye!